Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvikhnam Guru me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Hari Om, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. So, my name is Annu Kalra, and I am attempting to understand myself better than I did. I have, to my credit, a book that I have written. I'm an artist. The painting you see in the background is mine. My book is also about the Hindu gods and goddesses, and I've created a set of guidance cards with images of the various paintings of the gods and goddesses that I have made. And while some people do call it tarot, sometimes an Indian tarot, but it's really based on an understanding of Vedanta and not tarot, because tarot is based on Kabbalah, where you have a major arcana and a minor arcana. So this is not like that, but the images that are being used are of my paintings of Hindu gods and goddesses. And besides guidance, it also has a section on meditation and an understanding of yourself, and an understanding of meditation per se, and what are the kind of processes and rituals one can do in order to improve one's current situation. Understand and then improve on it. So the key word here is understand your own situation, because nobody goes to a doctor in good health. If everything is perfectly fine, there are no complaints in life, there is no health issue, there is no problem of relationship, finances, nobody goes to anybody else asking help. One is just so busy with living one's life. Usually one goes somewhere to seek help when there is a certain sense of discontentment, or maybe a fear. Ye sab kuch acha hai, everything is very good, I hope it remains this way. Sometimes things don't have to be bad, but even when they are good, if you have this niggling sense of fear, it's like you go for a complete checkup that my health is fine, but let me find out that my cholesterol is okay, and all my bone density is fine, and all my organs are functioning properly. So basically, what is it that drives this fear of not losing the good health? So similarly, on the spiritual also, most people's journey begins with a certain sense of discontentment in some aspect of one's own life. It could be in the material, it could be in the physical in terms of health, it could be in the emotional, it could be in the mental. So when I'm talking about these various layers of our being, our physical health, our emotional health, our mental issues, our relationship issues, our financial issues, it means that we have our identity in these various aspects, right? We live in these various aspects of our life. And if there is anything amiss in any aspect, the experience of life is not as wholesome as it can be. And therefore, one goes to address the issue within the domain that one feels there is a problem. In fact, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, it is called Arjun Vishad Yog. Because Arjun experienced a sense of foreboding and disenchantment, and he had a problem with what he was dealing with. That is the beginning point of the Bhagavad Gita. So every spiritual journey begins at some or the other level with a discontentment or a disenchantment with what is. Either we are unhappy with what is, or we are afraid of losing what is and getting into a situation where we may be unhappy with whatever would happen, right? So that clarity is very important. The reason that clarity is important is you don't go sitting in the waiting room of a doctor not knowing कि मेरी problem क्या है, what is my problem. When you go to a doctor, you go with a definite issue saying, I'm feeling very lazy, I have pain here, or I feel palpitations, or I get tired easily. You may not know the root cause, but you know there is a problem. So similarly, every journey, which we call the spiritual journey, which we call a conscious spiritual journey, begins at some level with a sense of disenchantment or discontentment with what is. And it is very important to be aware of this, because if we are not aware of this, we might just be fooling ourselves. And if we fool ourselves with something, even if you're lying to the rest of the world, you may get away with it. But if you lie to yourself, then it is very difficult to get rid of the problem because you haven't articulated. Sometimes it could just be a general sense of dissatisfaction, saying, you know, there is everything fine in my life. I am in a very happy marriage. My children are doing well. My business is doing well. I don't have a problem with money. My health is fine. But yet I have this deep sense of dissatisfaction, or if not a deep sense, a vague sense of dissatisfaction. It is very important to articulate that to yourself, because this is where a conscious spiritual journey begins. Why am I saying conscious spiritual journey? Because fact of the matter is that we are all going through a spiritual journey. Is there anybody without a spirit? No. Everybody has spirit. Whatever we may be, there is a certain level of acceptance, at least in India, that we are not just these bodies. There is something more to us, whether we call it soul, we call it spirit, but what we see is not all there is. There is more to our lives, to our presence. So, today what we are going to do is we are going to explore Ashtang Yog, which is the yoga that has been put forward by Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras as a way to addressing and understanding our own self and our sense of well-being, right? So those of you who have heard, a lot of people would have heard of yoga, right? And a lot of people would think yoga is about twisting yourself into various postures and holding your breath and pushing your body. That is not how it is. That is not what yoga is. Even though that may be the current understanding, some people may go a step forward and say, oh, yoga is not just about the physical body. It is also about breath control. Some people would go a step forward and further and say, oh, it is also about chanting Om and sitting in meditation. So the point is, our beginning point will always be from where our greatest identification is. If you are identified mostly as a physical person yourself, okay, this body is me, that's it. This body should stay healthy, this body should be slim and trim, this body should look attractive, this body should not have any physical problems, health problems. If that is the approach you have, sure enough, then for you, asana becomes the most important aspect of yoga. And I'm not condemning it. There is no, I have to say this upfront, that there is no such thing as this is right and that is wrong. Because all of us are unique beings, all of us have a unique approach to life, all of us have a unique way of thinking. And each of us not only have a unique way, we have a right to live the way we understand that life needs to be lived. So there is nothing, there is no judgment here on saying this is right or this is wrong. That is not my effort here. I'm only trying today to share with you an understanding of Ashtang Yog, which is probably for a lot of you, for some of you, or maybe many of you, a step deeper than the normal way that we approach it, right? So we're talking about Ashtang Yog. Ashtang means, Asht means 8, Ang means limbs, right? 8-limbed approach to yoga. So what are these 8 limbs? They are known as Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. These are the 8 limbs. Now, let's move further from looking at each limb by itself. What are yams? Yams are the observances. While everybody understands yoga as asana, Ashtang Yog does not begin with asanas. It is not necessarily sequential. It is simultaneous. For example, if we had to go and understand, if somebody goes to understand the physical anatomy, one might start with this is the digestive system, this is the respiratory system, this is the circulatory system, this is the nervous system of the body, right? But when it comes to health, when somebody has studied and become a doctor, even though he may be a specialist in one particular domain, but he looks at the body as a whole, because the body's experience is experienced as a whole. So therefore, Ashtang Yoga is a holistic approach to the spiritual journey or to life. One could look at any one aspect of it and pay more attention to it, and one could even start it in a sequential manner. But if one does start in a sequential manner, then the understanding is it has to first begin with observances called yams, right? Now, what are the yams? There are 5 yams: ahimsa, satya, aste, Brahmacharya, aparigraha. And there are 5 niyams: Shauch, Santosh, Tapasya, Swadhyay, and Ishwar Pranidhan. So 5 yams, 5 niyams. Then comes asana, then comes pranayama, then comes pratyahar, then comes dharana, then comes dhyan, then comes samadhi. Right. Now let's move forward. Let's talk about the first yam, ahimsa. What is ahimsa? Non-violence. So basically, what does it mean? That you shall not hurt somebody. Let's just explore this for a minute. What does it mean that you shall not hurt somebody? Where does this instinct to hurt somebody come from? So let's take the example of somebody whose car has been hit by somebody else, right? The car has been hit. You get off the car getting really angry that my car has been hit. And this person the other person who is banged into your car has destroyed my car, such an expensive car. I am going to clobber him. I am going to take him to court. I am going to make him pay. And with all this anger, you get out of the car and you notice that the driver who has banged into your car is your favorite nephew. Suddenly the entire anger dissipates. Disappears, no anger. Because what happens is it has been replaced now. First you were concerned with what happened to my car door, what happened to my car ka body. Now that anger has been replaced by concern for this boy who is your favorite nephew. You're saying, Beta, I hope you're not hurt. Are you all right? Same car, same dent in the car, same experience of having had that whiplash because somebody banged the car. But suddenly that violence is gone because the love for this person has overtaken it. That violence is no longer in play in this scenario. So ahimsa, this capacity to not be prone to violence, is basically what? It is the development of love within. When there is so much love in you, that even when your car gets banged up by somebody, your first concern is, I hope nobody is hurt. I am fortunate I am not hurt. You're operating from a space of gratitude. Oh, my car is hurt, but I am not. I hope the driver of the other vehicle is all right. This is ahimsa. Ahimsa is not that, yes, nowadays we have this thing about parents should not hit their children. Of course, parents should not hit their children. Nobody should hit anybody. If a mother gets frustrated because mother-in-law has been getting angry at her, husband is getting angry at her, mother does not have time to listen to her venting, brother does not give her enough bhav and does not treat her, doesn't give her enough gifts on various occasions, and everybody basically doesn't treat her well. But she can't say anything to anyone because in the scheme of the hierarchy of things, she feels powerless. But there is one person who is powerless in front of her child. And she takes out all that frustration, hits the child, screams at the child, gets angry. That is violence, that is himsa. And that frustration and hitting a child in that frustration, or even getting nasty to the child in that frustration, that is not on. But a mother who is a very aware person, who has been taking care of a young child and has noticed that the child tends to go and explore the plugs in the room. She has put tape on it, and she has tried to put furniture against it so that the child can't reach it because she's concerned about the child's health. But she realizes that her child doesn't listen. And one day she gives him one whack to make him understand the importance. Because if that child puts his finger into that plug point and gets hurt, there is no coming back. It's going to have huge ramifications. So she gives him one whack saying, don't you dare go near this. I don't want you to get hurt. That is not violence. So we need to understand the intent behind ahimsa, right? So this is ahimsa. So ahimsa is not if somebody comes and treats you badly and you become a doormat and let somebody walk over you saying, oh, I'm a practitioner of Ashtang Yog. I should practice ahimsa. That is necessary. No, that is not what it means. Please understand the meaning of ahimsa properly. That's the first. The second yam, satya, speaking the truth. How can we speak the truth if we don't know the truth ourselves? We can't. To be in satya means to be in awareness. So many times, somebody asks you, hello, how are you? And you respond, you have been running a high fever, you have a big headache, but you just respond in autopilot. Oh, I'm well, thank you. How are you? That person hasn't listened to your answer. You yourself are not aware of what you're saying. That is not being in satya. It does not mean you have to go around and give everybody who asks you how you are a complete download on your health, saying, oh, doctor ne ye kaha, doctor ne bola ye dawai khana hai, oh, I've been throwing up all night. It doesn't mean all of that. I'm just saying the awareness that when you speak from a space of awareness, that you speak the satya. And that satya can be spoken only if there is an awareness within you about your own state, about the state condition around you. So that is the second yam. Third yam, asteya, not stealing. That is not limited just to things, that you should not steal his property, or you should not steal his dress, or you should not steal her jewelry. It is not just that. Not stealing is, don't steal somebody's credit. If you're a working person and you're in a meeting and somebody compliments you on a very nice presentation that you made, and somebody who was supposed to make that presentation, who had worked on that presentation, had fallen ill, and you just went and presented instead of that person, have the magnanimity to say, thank you so much. I will communicate it to my colleague who had worked on this presentation and was not able to be present for this meeting today. That is also not stealing. Not stealing somebody's credit is also asteya. Not stealing a relationship. That because now you are my girlfriend, stop being with your other friends. Now because you're my boyfriend, stop being with your other friends. Stop paying attention to your sister because you belong only to me now. That is also stealing. There is a space for everybody in everyone's life. We all have to be aware of what our capacity to share is. And we shouldn't be stealing from someone. Asteya, don't try and get something that does not belong to you. It does not mean if you like something, don't work towards acquiring something like that. No, we will address this issue further. Asteya, the important thing is, remember, it does not just apply to things. It applies to every aspect of life. Don't steal an idea, don't relationship, don't steal somebody's valuables, don't steal somebody's peace of mind. If you do hinsa and you say nasty things to someone and that person gets hassled, you have actually been gone again 2 yams at the same time. You have stolen that person's peace of mind. Okay. After that is Brahmacharya. Normally, Brahmacharya is understood as celibacy, of not having sexual relationships. But let's see what the word literally means. Brahma jaisa acharan. Brahmacharya. How can you do Brahma jaisa acharan if you don't even know what Brahma is? I just park this thought with you. I'm not saying that celibacy does not have a role to play in the spiritual process. It does. But it needs a much deeper understanding than just saying be celibate and don't have any sexual relationships. It doesn't mean just that. There is a deeper understanding of it, but we will not go into that much depth of it because maybe another time we can take up the subject and speak about it in greater detail. The fifth yam. What is the fifth yam? Aparigraha, non-possessiveness. What does that mean? That there is nothing wrong with working hard and acquiring resources, but don't hoard the resources, share them. Let there be a flow in life. If you have managed to double your turnover, then double the amount of charity you do as well. Double your capacity to share with everybody. Let the flow go on. If you have received an increment at work, give an increment to those who work for you. Allow that joy, that abundance to flow through you. Don't hold it and say, no, this belongs to me, it is only mine. Because if you hold something and you hoard it, it starts becoming stinky after a while. Let it flow. Let it flow. Yep. So these are the 5 yams. Now comes the 5 niyams. What is the first niyam? Shauch. Shauch means what? Cleanliness, purification. And shauch of what? Short of every level of your being. If you are only a physical body, then you just need to clean your physical body and keep it clean and keep your physical surroundings clean. But we are not just physical beings. We have thoughts, no? Those thoughts also have to be purified. The negative thoughts, the thoughts that take away which sap our energy, the thoughts that tend to pull us down. Purify your being, let them go. The emotional relationships that are sapping your energy, that are creating problems for you, address them. It does not mean just removing a person from your life. That may be the last, that may be the final resort, that you have tried everything else and it hasn't worked, and now the only option you have is to move away from that person. That's an extreme. But purification is a constant. We do sweeping and mopping and dusting of the house every day, no? It is not a one-time process. You don't say, oh, I cleaned my house yesterday, I don't have to clean it again today. You clean it every day, because there is dust that comes and settles on the furniture, settles on the mirror. You clean your closets once in a while. You say, this needs further cleaning. I have to put the winter clothes back inside and I have to bring the summer clothes out. So let me clean up the wardrobe before I do that. You do the cleaning in the kitchen. This is shocha. This is all shoch. So this purification happens at every level, at the emotional level, at the thought level, at the financial level. Let me see what are my investments which are bad investments. Let me clean up my financial dealings and have everything upfront and clean as is possible. So this is happening at multiple levels, right? So it's not just about taking a bath. It's not just about keeping the house clean. It is about cleaning every aspect of yourself. After that is what? Shoch, we talked about. The second one, santosh. There's a very nice story associated with santosh and understanding of santosh. So Ganesha, we've all been experiencing the festival. So his wives are Riddhi, Siddhi. And he has two sons, Shubh and Labh. Ganesha is the god of beginnings. How is a beginning made? A beginning is made with having as your partner resources and intelligence. Riddhi and Siddhi, capacity. So it's sometimes some places they say Riddhi and Buddhi. So basically resources, intelligence, so physical resources and mind resources, right? When beginnings are made which are partnered by these two, you have something called labh. That labh is what? Gain. But how should that labh be? It should be shubh. It should be auspicious. Because you might go and burgle and rob a bank and you will have lots of money, but there is nothing shubh about that. There is nothing auspicious about it. You've gone and stolen something. So when you have the energy of beginning supported by the goddesses Riddhi and Siddhi as partners, you create children called Shubh and Labh. It doesn't end there. The story is that Shubh and Labh went and complained to Sri Ganesh that we want a sister. And that is when the manifestation of the goddess Santoshi Mata happened. Santosh. Santosh means contentment. That is what we need, contentment with what we have. It does not mean that you will not work hard and you will not plan for the future, but you have to be content with where you are, satisfied with what you have, because only from there can you function to the best of your effort. If you're hankering for something, mujhe ye chahiye, oh, I have to get there. You know your destination? Very good. You have a plan. Moment to moment, take one step after the other and move towards it. That can only happen if there is a sense of contentment and satisfaction inside. So, that is what is santosh. But there is another niyam called tapas, tapasya. that you need to learn to have restraint and develop the capacity to suffer if need be for something. Tapasya, we say, you see a famous cricketer and you say, oh my God, he bats so well, he's the god of cricket. But then you get to know that he used to practice his shots for hours and hours every day. That was his tapasya. He was always talented, but he also knew that even if you have talent, you have to work on yourself. You have to work on your ability to be able to do more, to work harder, deeper, to be able to sustain yourself. That is tapasya. For us, sometimes tapasya, you know what it could be? Something as simple as refraining from gossiping about somebody. That could be tapasya. It's very easy. We're sitting with friends and they're talking about somebody and everybody is gossiping about her. And it is very easy to just give into the moment and say something nasty, add to that and say something nasty about that person. But when you do that, it might not be true. It may not be the satya. It might be against your second yam of always speaking satya. Even if it is satya, it could mean hinsa towards that person. It could mean saying something nasty about somebody when she's or he is not there to protect and defend himself. And you may have actually taken away the person's respect in that environment by contributing to that discussion. The temptation may be very strong. Everybody's saying something about that person, and then you know something which can really add fuel to that fire, and yet you restrain. That is tapasya. Because that restraint, that not giving in to that moment of gossiping is tapasya. Yeah, tapasya can also be about fasting. That you want to eat something, but you've made an affirmation about following an anushthan, or you're on a weight loss diet, and therefore you need to do tapasya. Even something as simple, okay, may not be very simple for some people. Something as prevalent as a weight loss diet involves tapasya, right? So we're talking about a spiritual practice in our life, a way of life that is about discovering our real being, our own truth. How can that not involve tapasya, right? Okay. Now, after tapasya comes svadhyay. This is very, very interesting. This has been decoded at multiple levels. So, swayam se adhyayan karna. That could be reading of spiritual books, looking at videos of a lot of masters, listening to the advice and information given by a lot of successful people, स्वयं से अध्ययन करना, सेल्फ स्टडी बोलते हैं जिसको. स्कूल में टीचर ने पढ़ा दिया, उसके बाद टीचर has spent time in school and taken you through the syllabus, and yet you come back into self study. You read more of the reference material. So similarly, in the spiritual practice, in the spiritual life, you do swadhyay in terms of reading the scriptures, the Vedas, acquainting yourself with a lot of that. There is another aspect, which is swayam ka adhyayan karna, understanding yourself. Who am I? This person who's on this journey. Who is this person? Is it just this body? If it is just this body, then when I was asleep, I was not aware of this body. The body was asleep, the mind was asleep, in deep sleep. And when I woke up and I said, oh, I slept very well. Who is it that knows I slept very well? Who is that knows that I slept very well? The body was asleep, the mind was asleep, and yet I slept well. I've woken up feeling so refreshed that I say I slept well. This is Swayam Gadhyan, and this is the entire subject of Vedanta, to know yourself. So look at this. In Ashtang Yog, even before you've reached the subject of asana, which is usually the one that is treated as being yog, you have already delved so deep into the subject of yourself, and you're actually in the sphere of Vedanta. which is the ultimate understanding of life. And the final fifth niyam is Ishwar Pranidhan, which means to align, to surrender and align your will to the divine will. Ishwar ke saath sang ho liye, Pranidhan. They say, let thy will be my will. This is Ishwar Pranidhan. I was having very interesting discussions with a friend of mine who's from Bihar School of Yoga. And I was speaking with him. I said, I realized that when I look at the yams and niyams of Ashtang Yog, in fact, even if one of them is done with complete devotion and with complete commitment, one can find oneself. So he said, yes, it is true, whether it is satya or ahimsa or aparigraha or asteya, any of these, if you actually focus on any one of them completely and do it with conviction, your spiritual quest will become very deepened and will take you very, very, very far, and perhaps closer and closer to the goal, that whatever goal you may have set for yourself. So he said that his Swamiji at Bihar School of Yoga said, if you had to do only one thing out of the entire Ashtang Yog, if you would just do Ishwar Pranidhan, everything will get done. And look at it, how satisfying and how such a sense of relief you feel that let thy will be done. Because when everything that happens to you, if you're in that space of Ishwar Pranidhan, that whatever happens is divine will, there is total acceptance of it, then there is no stress, no worries, no problems, because then you recognize everything as a blessing. So that is Ishwar Pranidhan. So we finished Yam Niyam. Now comes Asan. And within asanas, of course, a lot has been spoken about it. The approach of Maharishi Patanjali to asana is very different from most people. What they understand, they think pushing yourself and stretching yourself more and more is what asana is all about. His approach is whatever in position in which you can be still and be still and be at peace, in joy, in sukham, sthiram, asana. That is asana. So right now I've been sitting with at this point, cross-legged. It doesn't matter whether I'm in Padmasana or Siddhasana or in Sukhasana. The point is, if I'm sitting with my back straight in a particular situation and I can retain that for a prolonged period of time and be not troubled by it, it is an asana. Of course, there is, if the physical capacity to sit still or be still, not even sit still, be still is not there, then one has to work on the physical body. And that is part of tapasya. Because isn't that what tapasya is? To push yourself a little. But it has to be done in the right manner. It has to be done in the right environment. It has to be done under correct kind of guidance, right? So, but the essential thing about the entire yoga is the backbone, a straight back. You may have noticed that somebody is very old, basically their back starts curving. That's a sign of aging too much. The back has started to curve. Then you say, oh, this person is very old. Uski to ab reed ki haddi bhi chhukne lag gayi hai. Right? I'm sure most people understand this much Hindi, that if I have said some sentences in Hindi right now, you can be all right with it. Okay. So next is pranayama. Pranayama is salutations to the prana. The prana, which is our pranic body, which is another layer of our being. We know our physical body, but we don't exist only as a physical. There is another layer of us. I think you have had some meditations to do with chakras and some sessions on it, and most of you would be aware of it. So I'm not going to go deeper into it. So pranayama, the breath is the bridge between the physical body and this etheric body, which is the pranic body. And therefore, it is very important. A lot of people decode pranayama as that if you breathe deeply, then your lungs are cleared. Yes, all of that is true. But it works at a much deeper level, because the prana, the breath, is the bridge between the physical body and the etheric body. So in the process of pranayama, the purification, which is, remember, shoch, the purification of your etheric body is happening. So you see how all these things are all interlinked. It's not just, they're not just standalone steps. They are all interlinked. It's like our digestive system is affecting our endocrine system, and our circulatory system is getting affected by what we eat, and how the other systems in the body work. So so Ashtanga Yoga is a very holistic approach. While there are different sections, they are all interconnected, and they are not standalones. So we need to understand that. Now, having understood yam, niyam, asana, pranayama, the next is pratyahar. Now, pratyahar is what? Pratyahar is when you are living a life which includes all these, following these principles, doing the asana, doing the pranayama, there is a certain ability to go within yourself. You don't stay outward focusing all the time. You don't hanker for pleasure of being in a party, going for a movie, or just wanting to be out with friends all the time. You're not just outward focused. You realize that there is something, there is a source of joy within me. And this svadhyaya that you've been doing, this tapasya that you've been doing, it makes you bring your senses inwards. It makes you start looking more and more within yourself. That is pratyahar, withdrawing the senses from outside objects and going deep within. It's almost like a tortoise kind of pulls its limbs inside. So that is pratyahar. And when that happens, that is when you get into a state of dharana. Dharana is to get focused. Then you start having a single-minded perspective, saying, I wish to be this joyous, eternal being. I wish to discover the truth of my being. I wish to find out who am I really. I wish to know my reality. You become single-minded focused, and that is dharana. So it's like you have set an objective for your life now. And when there is dharana, you ease into dhyan. Dhyan is what? Contemplating on the subject. Now that dhyan is popularly understood as meditation, and that's all right to understand it this way, but to be meditative is to contemplate, to go deep into a subject. It could be discovering yourself, it could be a process of balancing your chakras, it could be a process of doing a mantra jap, but you're easing into dhyan. And when all of this is happening, you get into the state of samadhi. And that is the state where you are no longer operating as an individual who has a mind, but you are now becoming part of the whole of the universe. Because eventually all spiritual quest is about understanding that everything is one. And how do you understand that? You can only be one to understand you're one. There is no other way to know other than being one. So what the saints have said, we are all one, ekam, that experience is the experience of samadhi, the individual identity. So it's about building bridges. So you have done yoga, you have built the bridge with the universe and have become one with it. Right? I mean, we say this at even a very simple at a very simple level of two people getting engaged and getting married. We say they have now become one, which means they have built bridges with each other. They don't have walls against each other. They don't keep each other out of their lives. They have built bridges. So that is the concept of samadhi. You build bridges and you become one with the universe. So this is the understanding of Ashtang Yog in a very, as much time as we had today. It is such a vast subject. So the thing to remember is yoga is not about doing some exercises. It is a way of life. It is a way of life that will enrichen the life and make it worthy of so much more, and fill it with so much grace and joy and beatitude that you will wonder, why did I live any other way? So now this is done. I think this session should also is supposed to also include a short meditation. And the one thing that I would recommend to everybody is to sit for some time every day, watch their breath, and do some chanting. Because, like, asana you have to do yourself, pranayama you have to do yourself. But if mantra, if you cannot even chant, if you can just sit in and listen to some mantra, that itself has the effect, a positive effect on you. So that is why mantra chanting is a very, very, very powerful tool that we all have. And if you feel that you resonate with all that one has spoken about today, and you would like to move further into this subject, then whatever else you may do, at least start playing some mantra every day and sitting and listening to that mantra. Of course, if you can yourself chant a mantra, that is the most powerful thing to do. But even if you can't yourself chant it, if you can listen to it, it would be very, very beneficial. And if you're just listening to it, then watch your breath while you do it. While you're listening, and just keep your awareness on your breath, keep watching your breath, and keep listening to the mantra. So I will now do a short meditation where I will chant some, and all of you just close your eyes, watch your breath, and listen to what is being said. Back has to be straight. Sit in a very comfortable position. Relax your body. Eyes closed. Relax. Just consciously, just let your shoulders droop. Let the body sink into the earth wherever you're sitting. Just feel that the weight is all, there's no weight on you. The weight is on the earth. But the back has to be straight, absolutely straight. So some people often ask, how can we have a straight back and yet be relaxed? So think about it as if you're, you're hanging a coat on a hook. So the coat will fall straight, but it will fall. It will just droop. Yeah. So eyes closed. Inhale deeply. And as you inhale, feel your stomach expanding. Forget the inhalation that you did in PT in school. This is not about expanding your chest. This is about allowing the breath to go all the way in and feel your abdomen coming out. And just consciously, as you're exhaling, feel your exhalation becoming longer. Keep watching your breath and keep listening to this chanting of Om and observing the sensations in your body as the chanting is being done. Very gently, as your eyes are still closed, take your attention to the core of your chest cavity. Now think about somebody you love, someone who loves you selflessly. It could be your mother, somebody you love, and the person loves you too. Complete selfless kind of love. Mother, guru, a divine form, your child. And as you think about this person, become aware that you have a sensation in your chest cavity. You feel a certain joy, and this joy is a sensation in your chest cavity which makes you feel more open, more vast. Express your gratitude to life for having given you this experience of this love. Now very gently, feel this love flowing out of you. That is the beauty of love, that it cannot be held inside. It spreads out, and the more it spreads, the more it grows. You can feel the spreading out in the form of a light or a wave. Just allow it to go. And everything is getting immersed in this love. Send your love and blessings to everyone, to all the people on the path of righteousness in the world, towards the Mother Earth. May she heal. Towards all the people supporting others and becoming better people and becoming more loving, compassionate. Just feel rays and waves of light from your chest going out into the universe and immersing everything in this energy of love. And as this love grows in you, the himsa comes down. You have taken the first step towards ahimsa in the pursuance of the Ashtang Yog, of the yogic way of life. Stay in this way for as long as you want to. And when you feel that you yourself are immersed in this love as the part of the universe and are saturated with this love, give your thanks, offer your thanks to the divine energies, to the angels, to the bodhisattvas, all watching over your journey, accommodating it, supporting it, helping you move towards the goal of self-realization. Offer your thanks to them with all your heart. Just see the beauty of this, the selfless love from one person, from one individual, one deity, one child, or the mother, or the guru. This realization of this love with them has the ability to submerge and immerse the entire universe in love. Be grateful for this. Offer your obeisance to all these energies and bless everyone. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhaved. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You may stay like this for as long as you want. And when you feel you no longer want to sit in this state, become aware of your physical body from head to toe. And gradually bring your awareness back to the physical. Don't be in a rush to open your eyes. Gently rub your palms and place your palms on, cup your closed eyes with your palms. And when you open your eyes, open them inside your cupped eyes so that you don't directly open into the light. That is it from me today. I hope and wish that all of you find that ultimate joy, that ultimate happiness, that ultimate understanding, after which the search for everything else no longer stays a part of you. Thank you so much. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnartha Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If any of you would like to follow me and find out more about the activities that I'm doing, you can follow me on my Insta account, Mystic Annu. And like I said, my book Avirbhav is available on Amazon. It comes with a set of cards. The book and the card